Hey there, welcome to our explainer. Have you ever just stood and looked at a giant canyon, or maybe a really dramatic coastline, and thought, how in the world did that get here? We usually think of big changes happening all at once in some huge event, but the truth is, a lot of our planet's most incredible features were made by forces that are super slow, super steady, and unbelievably patient.
I mean, just take the Grand Canyon. It's a mile deep, and it stretches for nearly 300 miles. So what could possibly create something on that kind of epic scale? Was it some massive world-shattering earthquake? One single catastrophic event that just ripped the Earth open?
Well, the answer isn't nearly that dramatic. It wasn't one big, sudden event. Nope. It was a force that has been working quietly, day in and day out, for millions and millions of years. Like a silent artist, just patiently chipping away, constantly shaping our world.
And that patient artist, the star of our show today, is erosion. It is without a doubt one of the most powerful processes shaping the face of our planet, and believe it or not, it's happening all around us, all the time.
Okay, so to really get what erosion is all about, we first have to talk about its partner in crime, weathering. They're a team for sure, but they have totally different jobs, and getting this difference is absolutely key. So let's break it down.
So here it is. At its very core, erosion is all about movement. It's the process that picks up all that broken down stuff, tiny bits of rock, sand, soil, and carries it off somewhere else. You can almost think of it as the planet's own geological moving company.
And this slide right here just nails the difference. Here's the easiest way to remember it. Weathering is the hammer. It's the force that cracks and shatters big rocks into little pieces. Erosion, that's the truck. It rolls in, scoops up all those broken pieces, and hauls them away. Weathering breaks it, erosion takes it. It's really that simple.
All right, so if erosion is the truck, that brings up a pretty obvious question, right? Who's in the driver's seat? Well, there are four main forces, or agents, that do all the heavy lifting. Let's meet the crew responsible for all this sculpting.
And here they are: water, wind, ice, and gravity. Each one has its own unique style, its own way of moving things around, and as a result, each one creates its own signature landscapes. Let's take a look at how they each get the job done. First up, we have the undisputed heavyweight champion of erosion, water. Seriously, when it comes to changing the shape of the land on a massive global scale, absolutely nothing is more powerful.
What's so amazing about water is just how versatile it is. I mean, it works on every single scale. A gentle rain can wash away soil from a farmer's field. A powerful river can carve a massive canyon over millions of years. To put it in perspective, the Mississippi River alone dumps over 1.5 million metric tons of sediment into the ocean every single day. And of course, you've got ocean waves, just relentlessly pounding away, reshaping our coastlines 24/7.
Next on the team, we have wind. You can basically think of wind as nature's sandblaster. It's especially good at its job in places where there isn't a lot of grass or trees to hold the dirt down, like deserts or beaches.
So what wind does is it picks up all those small, loose particles and just carries them away. This is actually how sand dunes are built. They're these incredible, ever-changing landscapes sculpted by the wind. And over thousands of years, that same wind can blast against rocks, smoothing them down and carving them into amazing shapes.
Our third force might be the slowest of the bunch, but don't let that fool you for a second. It is incredibly powerful. We're talking about ice. Specifically, glaciers. These things are basically just enormous, slow-moving rivers of solid ice.
So as these giant rivers of ice creep across the land, they act like colossal bulldozers. They just pick up everything in their path, from little pebbles to boulders the size of houses, and drag them for miles. And all that grinding and scraping carves out these really distinct, steep-sided, U-shaped valleys that you see in places like Yosemite or the Alps.
And finally, we've got the one force that is always on, everywhere on Earth, gravity. It's the ultimate downward pull. Sometimes it works all by itself, but it also gives a turbo boost to all the other forces, always pulling everything downhill.
Now, when gravity is the main thing causing the erosion, we call it mass movement. And this is where erosion gets really dramatic and really fast. All it takes is for some rock and soil on a steep hill to get unstable, say after a big rainstorm, and gravity just takes over. And the result is a landslide, a mudflow, or a rockfall.
So, we've met the four forces, we know what they do, but why should we care? Let's zoom out a bit and connect all these processes to the actual world we live in and see what kind of impact erosion really has.
You see, erosion is really a double-edged sword. On one hand, it's the master artist that creates the breathtaking landscapes we travel the world to see. But it can also be incredibly destructive. It can strip away the fertile topsoil that farmers need to grow our food. Or it can wash away the coastlines where people have built their homes. It's both a creator and, sometimes, a destroyer.
And that's exactly why this stuff matters. Understanding how erosion works isn't just some random science trivia. It's critical information that helps us manage our land better, protect our food supply, and build communities that are safer.
So, as we wrap things up here, probably the biggest single idea to take away from all this is that the ground beneath our feet isn't static. It's not permanent. It's a dynamic, living surface that is constantly being broken down and built back up again, in a cycle that's been going on for billions of years.
And that brings us to this final thought, which I think just says it all. It is so easy to look at a mountain and see something that's permanent, something that's never going to change. But that's only because our lives are so short. On a geological timescale, the Earth is always on the move.
Which of course leaves us with one last, pretty fascinating question to think about. If these patient, powerful forces keep doing their thing for, say, another million years, what new canyons will they have carved out? What new coastlines will exist? What will our planet even look like? It's pretty amazing to think about. Thanks for joining us.